she was awake when they were electrocuting her brain?
Yes.
Ew.
I feel like you saw what you wanted to see.
Why would I want to see something
Because
crawling?
you just said you've been spending the whole night listening to stories about it. Debunked. In my mind.
For that one, yeah. But how do you explain it in sleep paralysis?
Well, let's get into it.
Welcome to Candlelight Curiosities. You can call me Maggie.
And my name's Michael.
And each week we explore new spooky stories, conspiracies, and eerie hauntings that make you guess what is real.
And what is not.
So light a candle, relax, and let's get into today's stories. So today we're going to discuss sleep paralysis and shadow figures. Do you have your own experience with either of these?
I have one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Of which one?
Shadow people.
Oh, multiple.
Shadow person.
Okay. Do you want to share it?
Oh, right off the bat. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
He was not prepared for this.
I was prepared. I have a lot of scientific research. I'll blow your mind.
Well, I'm just saying to tell your own story.
Oh, no. But I remember it like it was yesterday. I was under 6. I was at my old house. We moved out of that house when I was in 2nd grade. So it would have been before I was like 6 or 7 years old. But I woke up one night and I had to go to the bathroom. So we had lived in a ranch-style house, entryway, little like living room, dining room, den area directly across, and then to your left was a hallway. We had all the bedrooms in that hallway and a bathroom and a closet. So my bedroom was the first door on the left. The hallway was all the way down, or the bathroom was all the way down and to the right at the end of the hallway. I had to have been like 5. Which is crazy because I still remember every detail. Like I can remember the green and white checkered comforter that I had. And I can remember the blue carpet and the color of the doors in the hallway. And anyway, so I woke up in the middle of the night, had to go to the bathroom, and I walked out of my door, turned left, and I felt cold. I felt like paranoid. Like fear, just fear, childlike fear of the dark, I guess. But maybe it was something more. And I'm walking towards the hallway, towards the bathroom, down the hallway. And out of that little cutout where the bathroom is, this whitish figure appeared, sort of like, I guess, a masculine build. But he had like a fedora or a hat on and almost like a trench coat. And I froze in the middle of the hallway. Bedroom was behind me, and he stopped, and he was facing my parents' bedroom, right? Because they're like adjacent, parents' bedroom and bathroom. He was a little hunched. He was a little hunched over, and then he just did one of these, right?
Ooh.
But it wasn't like
Yuck.
it wasn't like a face. It was sort of like almost like misty.
You said it was a white figure?
It was whitish.
Okay.
It was enough to where, like, in the moonlight, it was sort of like the color of moonlight, I guess.
Okay.
Coming through the window, but it had a distinct outline. And didn't make any noise, didn't say anything, but it turned, and I knew it was looking at me because I remember the hat changing its orientation. It didn't have a face. It didn't have, like, clear outlines of clothing or anything. But I remember that it's coat or trench coat or whatever, like you could tell there was legs, 7 or 8 inches of separation from the ground. And I froze, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, or it, and I got really, really scared, and I didn't have to pee anymore, which is good because I could have peed my pants, you know what I mean? But I didn't. And I ran back into my bedroom, which I was sharing with my brother at the time. He had it was like a pull-out bed situation. So he had the top one, and I had the one that pulled out lower. And I ran and I hid under the covers, sitting up, and I was sweating profusely and shaking. And I stayed under those covers for an unknown amount of time until I eventually fell asleep, and I remember every single detail of it. I remembered it when I woke up. And Yeah, that really terrified me. Which brings me to my next point, the Hat Man.
Okay.
But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay. I actually forgot about this entirely until you started telling me your story. When I was probably 13 or 14, my sister's friend, she would come over all the time, and apparently she had a ghost. She called it her uncle or her grandpa, and there's a male figure in her side of the family that would follow her around and stuff. And we had neighbors that lived down the street, and Serenity was the little girl. She was probably 8 or 9 at the time, and I fully believe that she's a sensitive or medium. The way that she could describe things that she was saying was insane and absolutely crazy. But Marissa mentioned how this figure was with her at our house, and I was across the street playing with friends, and I was like, I want to come see it. And I was like, I want to go talk to him. So I go in there and I'm like, ooh. And then I saw the outline and I was like, okay, this is a little too real, because he was sitting in our downstairs living room, the windows kind of came out to an angle and then straight and then an angle. And he was sitting in front of the window and I could see the hat outline. And then I was like, this is so crazy. So when I got Serenity and she came over and she was having a full-on conversation with him, mind you, it was crazy. She mentioned something and she was like, he smells like cigars and cologne. And I was like, I want to smell him. And I was like, can I smell you? And she was like, he said, yeah. And then I actually smelled the cigars and cologne. And I was like, okay, this is absolutely too real for me.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I forgot about that. That happened. Pretty crazy that I saw the outline of his hat. And she didn't tell me where he was sitting, but I was like, is he sitting over there with the hat on? And she was like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? What is this?
It's the Hat Man.
I fully believe that I smelled a ghost or smelled the Hat Man, and I saw his actual outline, which was insane to me.
So we've both seen the Hat Man.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that until you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A lot of people have seen the Hat Man, apparently.
Yeah, that's one of the most well-known sightings of something within just seeing the shadow person and or sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point.
Ooh.
Or to our stories for today.
Yes.
So our first story was shared 5 years ago on Reddit. I'm trying to deep dive into ones that are 5 or more years ago because you don't know about AI stories now. And I guess they're taking over Reddit. So I'm really trying to dig deeper in the history of everything. So this story was originally shared by /Redditor, REDITTTORRR on r/paranormal. And I'm going to retell it in their words. I'm not someone who believes in the paranormal. At least I wasn't before this happened. I've always been the type to look for a logical explanation first. Shadows, lights from the outside, lack of sleep, anything that makes sense. I've lived alone in the same apartment building for 3 years. Nothing strange has ever happened here. No weird noises, no bad feelings, nothing. Until last night, 5 years ago. Around 4 a.m., my cats woke me up for food like they always do. I got up, fed them, and by the time I went back to get into bed, I was pretty awake. I tossed and turned for about 20 minutes before giving up and trying to fall back asleep. I rolled over to get out of bed, and that's when I saw it. There was a face leaning out from the inside of my closet, just peering at me. Not a shape, not a blur, a face. It was round and extremely pale, almost glowing white against the dark room. The eyes were solid black and perfectly circular. No details, just dark. My first thought that had to be a shadow from outside, maybe headlights, maybe my eyes adjusting to the dark. I would have written it off as a dream if I had not already been awake for a while already. I stared at it for a few seconds, and then, very slowly, it pulled back into the closet. It didn't disappear, it receded, like it had physically leaned back into the darkness.
Spooky.
Yuck. I immediately turned on every light in the room and went straight into the closet. I checked behind the hanging clothes. I looked on the floor. I even checked the hallway. Nothing. At that point, I was definitely shaken, but I tried to calm myself down. I got back into bed and told myself that there had to be a rational explanation. I couldn't fall asleep after that. I kept opening my eyes and staring at the closet, almost hoping I would see it again so I could just prove to myself what it was. About 30 minutes later, I opened my eyes. It was there again. Same face, same white skin, same black eyes, but this time, it was closer.
Like a cat.
Not just peeking out from the closet, closer to my bed, just staring at me. I stared at it for about 30 seconds. I blinked over and over, trying to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I knew I was awake. Very slowly, without breaking eye contact, I reached over to turn on my lamp. The second the light filled the room, it was gone. I didn't see it again for the rest of the night, but something else happened. At one point, when I turned back towards the closet, I felt the bed shift, like someone had climbed into it beside me. The mattress dipped slightly and I could feel movement. I was alone. My bedroom door was closed. My cats weren't in the room. Then, around 6 a.m., a bunch of clothes that had been securely hanging in my closet suddenly fell to the floor. There wasn't a draft. The door was closed. My cats couldn't have gotten in. I stayed awake after that. I tried to explain that every way possible. I don't have a history of sleep paralysis. I wasn't half asleep. I was wide awake. And it was so clear. It didn't feel like a shadow. It felt like something was watching me. The end. Again, that was posted 5 years ago by you/Redditor on r/paranormal. So not necessarily a sleep paralysis story because they said they were wide awake, but...
Nope, that sounds like sleep paralysis.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Based on my research.
How about the white face with black eyes? I did read the comments and they said that no face, just black holes for eyes. And it was pretty white.
Hallucination.
From what?
You want me to get into sleep paralysis right now? I'm about to blow your mind with some science. Let's do the next one.
Oh yeah, this one you'll be able to explain pretty easily, but I thought it was pretty spooky.
Ooh.
Okay. So this was posted 5 years ago as well on r/paranormal, and the user deleted their account. So
Hell yeah.
So deleted user posted 5 years ago. Are you prepared?
Anonymous.
Yes. Story 2. In 2015, I went through a pretty intense period of trauma. Not long after that, I started experiencing severe sleep paralysis. It wasn't occasional. It was constant for months. I was exhausted all the time. I started dreading sleep because I knew what was probably waiting for me. During those episodes, there was always something there. Sometimes it would grab my leg and drag me toward the closet. I could feel the pull, like my body was being yanked across the bed. Other times, it would crouch over me while I was frozen in place, unable to move or scream. It felt violent, heavy, and waking up from it was never easy. I'd fight my way out, only to feel drained as if I hadn't slept at all. Then one evening, I lay down for a nap. Partway through, I became aware that I was in that in-between state again, but this time something was different. At the foot of my bed, there was a figure. It wasn't the same shadow mask I was used to. This one had form, shape. I could see its face clearly, but I could tell it was wearing a deep red hooded cloak.
A red hooded cloak.
A deep red hooded cloak.
Deep red.
Mm-hmm. It reached out and touched my ankle, and instead of fear, I heard a voice in my head. Don't panic. The communication wasn't spoken out loud. It felt like it was placed directly into my thoughts. It told me to stand up, and somehow I did. Not physically. I knew my body was still in the bed, but I stood up anyway. I was where I wasn't in my physical body anymore. It told me to follow it. I was nervous. I've never experienced anything like this before. My dog was laying next to me on the bed. I remember asking it if I could bring her with me. The answer was yes.
Can I bring my dog?
I picked her up, and even though this wasn't physical, I could feel her weight in my arms. Not her body exactly, something else. Something solid, but not solid. The figure led me down the hallway into the bathroom. Above us, in the ceiling, there was something like a swirling opening. It looked like a dark galaxy, black and blue, slowly rotating in the darkness.
Oh my God.
The figure rose up into it. I followed, holding my dog, and I remember feeling resistance as we passed through, like the portal strained under the weight of both of us. On the other side was a dim stone room. The air felt still, quiet. The figure was waiting there. I don't remember the exact words it said to me, but I remember the feeling. Relief. Like something had ended, like the door had been shut. And then I was back in my bed. My dog was still beside me asleep. After that night, I never experienced sleep paralysis again. I still had trauma to work through. That didn't magically disappear, but the paralysis completely stopped. I tried to explain it. I questioned whether it was just another dream, but I was lucid. I was making choices. I remember the weight of my dog in my arms. And whatever that red hooded entity was, it didn't feel like the others. And again, that was posted by a deleted user 5 years ago on r/paranormal.
Sounds like they just had a lucid dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A galaxy in the bathroom.
That's what
being
I'm saying.
led.
Yeah.
Telepathy.
Or it was a watcher.
A watcher.
An angel from on high.
Mm-hmm.
One of the good ones.
That's what the comments were also saying, that it was like a spirit guide, guiding them away from, they come in time of trauma and need.
Yeah. The Bible talks about watchers. The canonical Bible, which apparently is a huge point of contention on the internet.
Oh.
The Bible, the book of Daniel mentions the watchers as angels that are sort of stewards of humanity. the non-canonical Bible, aka the books of Enoch, paint a very different picture of the Watchers, describe them as sort of rebellious angels that procreated with humans, creating the Nephilim, a race of giants that were eventually washed away in the flood by the Lord on high. But neither here nor there. I just thought it was interesting.
I can't wait for that episode on Enoch. It's just gonna be like, wow.
the Gnostic Gospels, episode blank.
Yeah.
I get into that.
I know. We need a guest for that because you've already told me a lot about that. And I want them to see.
Yeah.
To hear it real time.
I got some notes.
On what?
On all sorts of things.
Wow.
Oh, this is what I wanted to mention. So I was looking up the Hat Man and stuff.
Yes.
And one of the websites I found, I don't remember which one it was. I was reading about sleep paralysis. And one of the things that people describe is seeing the Hat Man. It's actually pretty common. And they found that high doses of antihistamines before going to sleep showed an increase in these experiences. So it's likely that when I was 5 years old, my mom just gave me a bunch of Benadryl before I went to bed. And that's what happened. And I just had a weird dream. Or it was something else.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you. When you see like shadow movement in your peripheral vision, do you think it's just nothing, or do you think there's something there you just can't make sense of it?
When I have good sleep, restful sleep, I'm hydrated, I have food, and I'm not stressed out, it's nothing. When I haven't slept in a long time, I haven't eaten, I'm tired, I'm anxious, and I'm under a lot of stress, I see people.
That's so scary. Well, I mean, that's fair. But I'm saying like...
That's how your brain works, though. It's like in your peripherals, you only get a fragment of the amount of information that it's needed. So it just fills in the gaps. So if, in my experience, if I'm driving late at night and I haven't slept and I've been driving for 4 hours and like I catch something out of the corner of my eye, I think it's a person because my brain's like, hey, you need to pay attention. Like you might hit something, right? What is it looking for? People, animals, movement. But every time that happens, then I glance over and I look and I'm like, oh, it's just like an orientation of mailboxes in a certain way that could look like a human figure. Trying to identify human-like shapes. I mean, that goes back to, our ancestors.
Yeah.
It's like identifying human-like shapes in the forest at night was like really important. Yeah. Or like even during the day, because it's like, oh shit, there's a person there.
Yeah, I'm more scared of people
Danger.
than I am of animals.
You know what I mean?
Like when we were in Colorado.
You catch movement and stuff like that. I think it's just your mind playing tricks on you. That's just my opinion.
I don't know, because I'm like, is it your mind playing tricks on you, or is there something that's there you didn't see it enough, but it's like the dimensions thing.
I have so many
your
notes.
Third eye is opening and you're seeing something. But I do have a story real quick that reminded me of like the shadow, like seeing shadows, which this is all coming to me because I completely forgot about all this when I was doing research. So my mom, my sister, and I went to Landolf's Castle, and we did like a ghost hunt tour thing with them on just like on the property. And they were saying at the one area, people claim to see dogs or shorter figures that would run. And I saw one.
Yeah.
And it was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Like, you know how I feel when you crawl at me? Imagine like
I do crawl at you a lot.
Yeah.
I try to get my elbows as high as possible and my legs
in the dark
position.
Terrifying. Absolutely.
Oftentimes I'm naked.
Yeah. But yeah, like we were, there's an area by like a well, and I don't remember what it is about the well. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. Mentioned though that people would see like shadow figures of like dogs or wolves crawling, and I looked and I saw it clear enough where I was like, Mom, I just saw something. Then again, is it like my mind was trying to make something up? But I don't think it was, because they were telling us stories throughout the entire night, and that was the only thing that I saw.
I feel like you saw what you wanted to see.
Why would I want to only see that? Why would I want to see something crawling?
Because you just said you've been spending the whole night listening to stories about it.
Yuck.
Sort of like self-hypnosis.
Maybe. If that is.
That's my scientific explanation to
I'm pretty powerful
paranormal phenomena.
If I did that then.
Okay, the Dark Watchers of California.
Why specifically California?
That's where the legend originates. So when the Spanish first occupied California, they had these legends of seeing large, shadowy figures watching them. And John Steinbeck wrote a book, and in it he talks about the Dark Watchers. And his son, later on, this was in like the 1930s for him, his son later on said he had an experience with these Dark Watchers. I'll read this to you. Described as tall, giant-sized, featureless dark silhouettes, adorned with brimmed hats or walking sticks. Now keep all these details in mind, right? Because I'm about to blow your mind with some science.
Okay.
Often reported seen in the hours of twilight and dawn. So when the sun is either, near the horizon.
The in between.
Right. They're motionless, and they just said they watched the travelers from the horizon along the Santa Lucia mountain range. No one has ever seen one up close. They disappear when they get close to them. Now, I saw a picture of this, by the way, of this phenomenon. It is called the Brocken Spectre.
Do you have a photo for me to see too?
I can pull up a photo for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Brocken Spectre, or in German, if you would like, the
Brocken Spectre.
Brockengespenst. I don't know I can't speak German. Also called the Brockenbau or bow, or the Mountain Spectre. So this is what actually happened. It is the magnified and apparently enormous shadow of an observer cast in midair upon any type of cloud opposite a strong light source. Or I said twilight to dawn.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun is on the horizon. The figure's head can be surrounded by a bright halo, often rainbow colored, forming a sort of glorious halo around them, like concentric rings, which appear opposite the sun's direction when uniformly sized water droplets and clouds refract and backscatter sunlight. So when are these people seeing this giant specter? When there's a bright light source opposite them, and when there's a lot of mist in the air near the mountains that can refract light. And not only that, they're seeing a shadow of themselves. So it would make sense that when they're frozen with fear, that the shadow is not moving. And then when they move, it disappears, right? Phenomenon can appear on any misty mountainside, cloud bank, or be seen from an aircraft. But the frequent fogs and low altitude accessibility of the Brocken, the highest peak of the Harz Mountains in Germany, have created a local legend from which the phenomenon draws its name. Brocken Spectre was observed and described by Johann, I'm going to butcher his name, Johann Silberschlag in 1780, and has been recorded in literature about the region. So it started in Germany.
Oh. That's their own shadow?
That's their own shadow. Now, if I saw that, I'd be like, oh my God, it's a shadowy figure in the distance watching me. It's really just you. And they're like, oh, they always have brimmed hats and walking sticks. It's like, well, you're hiking in the mountains in the 1900s.
Yeah.
You're going to be wearing a hat and having a walking stick.
Yeah.
So at what point in time do you go, maybe this isn't something watching, maybe it's just myself because it literally looks exactly like me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I would wave to it and see if it would wave back.
Debunked. In my mind.
For that one, yeah. But how do you explain it in sleep paralysis?
Oh, well, let's get into it. This segment is called Science with Michael.
Science with Michael.
First, we need to explain what sleep paralysis is, right?
Yes. Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
What is sleep paralysis?
What is sleep paralysis? Funny you should ask. I'll explain it to you to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
So essentially, okay, so I'll break it down like this. I don't want to get into this. I can name the scientific terms because they're on my phone. But when you fall asleep and you enter REM sleep, rapid eye movement, that's the time that you're dreaming. So your brain, it releases neurotransmitters. Your brain is, I'm going to take all the science out of it because I'm going to sound like an idiot. Your brain shuts down different parts of your body because when you're dreaming, your brain can't tell the difference between reality and dreaming, right? Mm-hmm. We all know this.
Or even when you're awake too.
Right. It doesn't know the difference when you're dreaming or when you're awake. So what your brain does as a failsafe while you're dreaming is it paralyzes your muscles so you can't move. So it's a self-paralysis called antonia, I think. Okay, so your brain when you fall asleep and you're dreaming, your brain releases neurotransmitters, GABA and glycine into your spinal cord, and it paralyzes your body. But you still need to what? You still need to be able to move your eyes, and you still need to be able to breathe. So you can still move your eyes and you can still breathe while you're in this paralyzed state that's induced by your own brain. The reason it does that is because otherwise, while you were dreaming, your brain wouldn't know the difference and you'd act out your dreams, right? Where we get into like sleepwalking.
Yeah.
And like I've woken up and just started punching and elbowing, or like I'm dreaming I'm kicking a soccer ball and I wake up and then I kick the soccer ball. Got the GABA, GABA, and you got the glycine paralyzing your body, which I'm going to get even deeper into that in a minute. Prevents you from acting out your dreams, right? But sometimes the conscious part of your brain that keeps you awake, that wakes you up, activates, and you wake up, but you're still in the REM sleep. So all of the effects of REM sleep are taking place, which is the self-paralysis, the eye movement, and the respirations. But now you're awake in reality, but those effects are still taking place. So now you can't move your body, which is going to induce some type of fear and adrenal response, right? It's just like taking away one of your senses causes similar effects. Well, now you're taking away your ability to move. You're going to freak out because your brain hasn't reset yet. The switch hasn't turned off, right? It's still pumping that glycine and that GABA into your spinal cord, keeping you paralyzed. Now we're going to go even deeper into it, right? So you've got the REM-induced atonia happening, but when you're in REM sleep, your respiration's irregular. So you get, I think it's like 40% of like what your normal respirations would be, which causes hypercapnia. Hypercapnia is when there's either too much CO2 in your bloodstream or your body isn't removing it fast enough. So think about this, right? This explains all the stories around, to me at least, around sleep paralysis. What do people say? I can't breathe. I have a weight on my chest. I'm seeing I have some type of paranoid delusion about a figure or something that's pushing on my chest or my neck. So look at it from the scientific perspective. You're completely paralyzed. Only your eyes are moving and your respirations are irregular and at like 40% of what they'd normally be. So you're trying to catch your breath. You're basically hyperventilating. So I can't move. I'm hyperventilating. I'm experiencing a fear-induced response to all of that. I'm paralyzed, and I don't know why, but I'm fully awake. And on top of that, I'm still experiencing all the effects of REM sleep, which is dreams, which dreams are hallucinations. So you're awake, you're hallucinating, you can't move, and you're freaking out, and you can't breathe. Wouldn't that elicit some type of confused hallucination to where you're like, oh my God, there's a person on my chest pushing me and trying to kill me?
It's not always that though. Like, how do you explain that so many people are seeing these shadow figures peering out of their closet or moving towards them or sitting on the bed and they can see the compression? Why would they think that, not something else?
I think that the biggest fear that people have is another person harming them while they're helpless. I think that's an ancient primal fear that we have dealt with for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's in our DNA to naturally fear other people, especially when we're in our most vulnerable state.
Yeah.
And the thing that people are most likely to imagine as the biggest danger to them is another person.
It's a man.
Whatever, yeah. Well, you get into like the incubus and the succubus.
Yeah, but it was a succubus.
You know what I'm saying?
A lesbian succubus, to be more specific.
But again, what are these people really experiencing? Some type of murky dream state where their body's paralyzed but their mind is awake, but they're still dreaming. All these things combined into one.
Yeah, I guess.
Science explains it. Oh, this is what I want to talk about, the shadow figures. All right.
Okay.
Gotta get comfortable for this one. It'll blow your mind.
We'll see.
Scientists,
Ancient
ancient alien theorists sometimes agree. No, this is real. This is real science. So, shadow figures, we can activate, we can create them through science. And this kind of just, listen, I'm not saying that it's not some type of paranormal thing, but if all it takes is a few scientists and some electrical stimulation to create the feelings, all the feelings associated with that directly relate to all of these stories of these shadow people, there's got to be something there. So these scientists are trying to cure this woman. She has seizures, epilepsy. I think this is in the 60s. They discovered this by accident, by the way, because, back then they're just like, what if we electrocute them this way? What if we electrocute them that way? I wonder what's going to happen. Like weird sort of unethical stuff probably going on. So shadow people, right?
Yes.
You get the paranoia, the fear. You see a shadowy figure that disappears when you try to go towards it or look at it. There were these scientists who were trying to cure this woman of epilepsy, and they accidentally discovered that, and I'm going to read this verbatim because I cannot pronounce this word. They stimulated the left temporoparietal junction. The left temporoparietal junction. The left porta potty junction.
Yes. Porta potty junction.
Right. So they stimulate this in her. And
I really thought I had that.
okay, so it's a neurologist. His name is Olaf Blank.
Olaf.
Of the Brain Mind Institute in Switzerland. So they're trying to cure this woman of her seizure. She's 23 years old. And they apply a mild current through surgically implanted electrodes in certain regions of her brain. And they hit that left temporioidal junction, TPJ for short, which is what we're going to call it from now on. So this is located like above your left ear, roughly, in your brain. Which, by the way, is very close to the left amygdala. The left and right amygdala, the right amygdala, I guess. But, okay, so it's not really close. But the right amygdala controls your fear.
Okay.
Anyway.
Is it on the left side, though?
There's one on the left side, but it's more about reward.
Where's the TPJ at?
Nearby in the brain.
On the left side?
On the left side.
Okay. That's pretty far from the right side.
I understand that, but I'm saying there's two amygdala, one on either side. They're still interconnected.
Okay.
So anyway, when they electrocute the TPJ in her brain, this is what she reported feeling. Quote, the presence of a mystery person behind her, a motionless and speechless shadow that imitated her body posture and actions.
She was awake when they were electrocuting her brain?
Yes.
Ew.
So.
What the?
So listen, this is what's crazy. So what does the TPJ do, right? What it does is it creates your sense of self. So it takes in all the sensory information around you. Like I'm looking at my hand now. I'm looking at my leg and or myself in the mirror, whatever. I'm spatially orienting myself in the world based on the input into my brain. I'm creating an image of myself through the reflection of all of my senses, all the scrambled information that's being processed and reorganized to create me in my own head. The TPJ puts all these things together. And when it's disrupted, what they think is the brain it cannot perceive you as yourself. It perceives two selves. So it's you and another version of yourself. When it perceives two bodies instead of one, it mistakes the second one for that of a stranger. And that is a shadow person. They can create shadow people in your brain by electrocuting certain spots.
Yeah, but you're not getting electrocuted when you're sleeping.
No, but your brain is constantly...
I think it's just firing the wrong...
It could be wires crossed type stuff.
Yeah.
It could just be like something in their genetics where they... Or I don't know. I mean, it could just be like... It could be anything. It could be electromagnetic interference from all the crap around us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just hitting that spot in your brain at the right time in the right place in such a way that you perceive two of yourselves and your brain goes, it can't compute. And it goes, obviously the other one's a stranger. Because think about it. Now you're thinking, okay, I see a shadow person out of my peripheral. I look and they're not there, right? I feel a presence near me, but it's really just yourself. It's your brain playing tricks on you because your TPJ is being stimulated by electricity in a certain way.
Even when you're awake.
Even when you're awake. I mean, if you want to talk about people who hit their head hallucinate, you see stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be some type of trauma that happens to your brain while you're sleeping, or a lack of blood flow to a certain thing that messes up your electrical signals while you're awake, or who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you ate a spicy pepper. But I'm just saying, if science can basically create a shadow figure.
So, speaking of the Hat Man,
that's demonstrable evidence.
The Hat Man. He's wearing a hat, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I see the Hat Man? Why would multiple people see a Hat Man at the same time?
I think that has to do with the fact that one person long ago said that they saw a man with a hat, and then the story spread, and now everybody sees a man with a hat.
I don't think so. A hat's a very obvious thing on a shadow person. Like,
you got a group. So a lot of the people that see the Hat Man are isolated, sleep deprived. They don't have enough calories. They're at a caloric deficit. They're in nature, in the scary parts of nature, in the mountains alone. Right?
Yeah. Spooky.
So that community of wanderers, of hikers, one person sees it, they tell another person they see it, and then when you're alone, when you're experiencing all of those same variables by yourself at a different time, and you've only have that story to go on, your brain is going to go, I also see the Hat Man.
Isn't that like
and then it's just going to permeate throughout the culture. Yeah,
Did our friend see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He did, but he also didn't sleep for 2 days. And he hiked like 27 miles a day.
Yeah.
Up a mountain. I'm just saying,
know.
if everybody started saying, "Oh, I see a lizard man with a tail," then everyone would see lizard people with tails.
I don't think so.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. What if it's like a spirit guide, or it's like the person that's trying to push you on?
What if it's just the Brock inspector?
What is that?
That's what I just talked about with the halo effect and the giant guy and the.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't.
In the misty mountains.
I don't feel like it's always at that time though. Like, I feel like it could happen whenever. It's not just that specific. But I don't know, because I never went hiking and saw that myself.
I've been so fatigued and tired and sleep deprived that I've hallucinated.
Oh, same. Yeah, me and my friend. My other friend. I saw
one time in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, I saw a mansion in the woods. I saw it and then I was looking at something and I was like, is that a goose? And it was a log.
That's what I'm saying. Your brain is trying to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, we were very sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to go hiking by myself. And then before that, for the past 10 years, you've been talking to other hikers who are like, I've also been hiking by myself. And I saw this hat man. I saw this man with a hat. And then they talk to hikers that, I'm saying, it all
But yeah, but it's
back.
not always hikers though. It's many people.
It's already permeated the whole culture.
Perhaps.
It's a self-induced hypnosis. There is a scientific explanation for everything.
Not for everything.
Any science that is sufficiently beyond human understanding would be considered magic.
Do you believe in magic?
I believe that any magic is simply technology that we do not understand. Scientific laws and principles that we have yet to discover.
From where? What's the source?
From the universe. I mean, it is over 12 billion years old. Listen, I'm not saying that shadow figures aren't real. I think they are. But I don't think they're what everybody thinks they are. I think it's just your brain playing tricks on you because your TPJ is being stimulated, overstimulated.
Maybe. I want to take you on a ghost hunt.
I took you on a ghost hunt in Colorado and you hated it.
It was not a ghost hunt. It was us in the middle of nowhere at night. The only thing I was scared was that car that was parked in the parking lot.
That's real fear.
I wasn't worried about animals. I was worried about where this person is that's at the park. But what time was it? 1 a.m.?
It was
in Colorado at a park? At a hiking trail? Not only that, but also mountain lion.
Rocky
What's
Mountain
out
National
there?
Park. Everything wants to kill you.
Yeah, what else is out there?
Mountain lions, elk.
We had a terrible experience with an elk the first night we were there.
Moose.
you want to... God, crazy. That was so scary.
Yeah.
That was
That's what I'm saying.
Real fear.
But it was fun.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it was fun for me.
Yeah, it was.
No,
somebody's out here waiting for us.
But it was beautiful and it was quiet.
No, it wasn't. It was terrifying.
The real fear of being in actual danger. It was so much more exquisite than just walking through a haunted house.
You don't even walk through a haunted house, so I don't want to hear it.
Because it bores me.
No, it's not. That's not what it is. You've never went to a haunted house with me.
Yeah, I did. I've gone to a few.
Where?
At
when, Tennessee?
Yeah, I think so.
No, doesn't count.
Yeah, the one at Gatlinburg.
Okay. Those don't count. Those ones sucked.
What? I still got a little scared. I was like, ooh.
Did you?
Yeah. But it wasn't real fear because I knew it was all fake. So you just laugh. Ha ha ha. When you're out in the woods.
Yeah, that was real fear. I'm never doing that again with you.
Yeah.
Never. Even when I used my phone flashlight, I couldn't see anything.
I know.
Disgusting.
Awesome.
No.
It's just man versus wild.
Yeah. Something like that.
Nothing was going to get us. I was playing music on my phone at full volume. And we had lights. That's going to scare every living creature away.
Yeah, it's going to attract the human that's out there waiting for somebody like us.
I wish.
It's waiting for us.
I wish.
Anyways, before that, share that publicly.
One human and not like a group of them, because then we're screwed. Fun facts about sleep paralysis: 7.6% of the population is affected.
Only 7.6.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had it, so.
And this is from the National Library of Medicine. And just to be clear, the National Library of Medicine specifically talks about the incubus and the succubus, which I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
That they would put that in their research study.
That was like a normal thing for people to conjure.
The possible explanation for incubus hallucination during an episode of sleep paralysis is that there is a decrease of respiratory muscle activity during REM sleep. This is due to the inhibition of motor neurons during REM sleep. Respiration becomes irregular, and there is skeletal muscle hypotonia, resulting in significant reductions in alveolar ventilation and tidal volume, leading to hypercapnia, which is the excessive amount of CO2 in the blood. In normal subjects, alveolar ventilation during REM sleep can be 40% lower than during wakefulness. So you're operating at 60% of your air volume, basically. A hypervigilant state is also characteristic of REM sleep. Hypervigilant means that it'd be like the same as like when we were in the woods in Colorado and you were like eyes wide, with eyes wide open. That's not even the right song. Wide open. But with your eyes open and your senses turned up to 11. A hypervigilant state is also characteristic of REM sleep, and it appears to originate in the midbrain. The amygdala is located in the midbrain. Don't quote me on that. This hypervigilance leads to the fear and paranoia that often accompanies these episodes. A possible explanation for REM sleep disorders is flawing in the structures forming in the brainstem. So everybody who's ever experienced sleep paralysis and demons attacking them just has a minor flaw in their brainstem.
Where does the succubus and incubus come in?
Well, they just mention it.
Oh.
They mention it twice.
I did see something about that too, like that it's a more common theme for sleep paralysis.
They mention it about the, here we go. It is often accompanied by visual hallucinations of the intruder and incubus variety. Intruder hallucinations involve the perception of a dangerous person or presence in the room. The incubus phenomenon is characterized by a hallucination with a feeling of pressure on the thorax while carrying out aggressively and/or sexual acts. It tends to be accompanied by anxiety, paralysis, and feelings of suffocation. But all of those things are explained by the effects of sleep paralysis to begin with, which is hyperventilating and feeling like you're suffocated because your
Yeah.
lungs are only pumping out a limited amount of oxygen to begin with.
Yeah.
And when that happens, your body freaks out. But when you're sleeping and you're restful, it doesn't matter. But now you're experiencing all that same stuff when you sleep, but you're wide awake. And that would freak anybody out.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Hope it doesn't happen to me.
I've never had sleep paralysis. I did have a brain scan, and they told me that my brain stem is 0.003 millimeters longer than it should be, whatever that means. Maybe it was 0.03. It was a very insignificant amount, but they said that it was odd that I had a longer brain stem than normal.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that.
It was an MRI, actually, I think it was.
For what?
I used to have this problem where whenever I would bend over to pick something up and I would stand up, I would get a pounding headache in the front of my head. I would get a lot of nosebleeds as a child. I know it sounds stupid, but even if I was if I had to just pick something up off the couch and I would purposely slowly stand up just to avoid it, it would still happen. And it was happening all the time. And then I'd get a little dizzy, a little lightheaded, but it was always a pretty severe headache that would last for several minutes just from bending down, which isn't a normal thing.
Yeah.
And they took me in for an MRI, and they told me that I was just being sensitive.
A turd.
It was probably because I was dehydrated, honestly. Where it was probably some weird vitamin deficiency. So, magnesium or zinc or whatever. I just wasn't getting enough of it. But then they did do an MRI, and they said that I had a longer brainstem, which they also said meant nothing, but it was just a cool, fun fact about my body.
You're going to find out in 10 years that it's really important and you need to save the world.
I'm going to go into a coma from some type of traumatic experience, and they're going to be the only reason that he came out of this coma is because his brainstem was 0.003 millimeters longer than normal. I'll be yes.
I knew there was a reason for this.
I'm very skeptical on sleep paralysis and shadow figures because of all the stuff that I just learned.
Yeah.
Is kind of hinting less towards the paranormal and more towards the scientific. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that my personal opinion is that there's more of a scientific explanation, especially when you start talking about hallucinations.
Yeah.
And all of the factors associated, all the variables surrounding these occurrences. The one story you just read where she was I had just experienced an extreme amount of trauma.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I started seeing demons while I was sleeping. It's well,
she never claimed it was demons.
Well, whatever.
Or
you know what I mean?
I agree with the scientific portion more. Also not stating that the sleep paralysis was not real, but there was another story that I had to prepared, and the person was saying that they saw the shadow figure every single day for 20 years. And they moved around a few times and it was always there. And then it just one day just disappeared. And then the comments were well, were you going through a lot of stressful times? And they're not really. And they're well, you moved around a lot. So that's very stressful in itself. So maybe that was your comfort of knowing that you're going to be okay. And then you finally made it to a safe place and it was gone. And a lot of people were also commenting on the post, are you on medication? Did you have any
That's another thing.
brain stuff?
How many SSRIs are you taking per day? When I read the thing about Benadryl, I was that's got to be it.
Yeah.
That was just the one night that my mom just gave me 2 Benadryl instead of 1 or something.
Yeah.
But I still remember it vividly to this day. I remember that entire house being haunted. There's a bunch of different stories I have, and then when when we finally left the house, I remember the feeling of relief, and it was almost like a surprise to me because I was oh, you don't always feel this way?
Yeah.
And then I was I'm not always scared that somebody's watching me all the time. It was weird.
Yeah. I've definitely went into places and I can feel the energy shift when I was younger. I don't feel it as much anymore, but I feel I was a lot more sensitive back then.
I also electrocuted myself in that house, so that might be part of the reason. I was 3 years old and I stuck a pair of metal tweezers into the plug socket and electrocuted the shit out of myself.
So smart. Good thing you have 0.003 longer brainstem.
That must have extended my brainstem.
I was oh.
That was crazy because I was I had to have been 3 or 4 years old. I was so young, but I still remember everything about it. I can close my eyes and remember almost the exact pattern of the blue sparks that shot out of it.
That
and
is
I
pretty
remember
crazy.
like the little intrusive guy in my brain that was like, do it. Do it. Stick the thing in there. And I was like,
Maybe it was the ghost or the demon that was there at the house.
I was just like, tweezers, plug socket, 4-year-old brain.
This makes sense.
I was like, I put the star in the star hole. I put the square in the square hole. I can put these tweezers in the socket hole.
Yeah.
And yeah, it zapped me really, really good. And have you ever been electrocuted?
Only like, yeah, a little bit, but not.
And then like it like you feel it through your whole body and you're like shaking and you can't stop.
It's never been, no, not.
Oh.
No.
And then like what's
It's
crazy,
only been through like up my arm, but
Yeah.
not my entire body.
the whole thing. And then when you're done, you'll get like these weird after effects where you're just like it's still going through you.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I just remember running and hugging my mom from behind because she was like folding laundry or something, and she was like, "What's wrong?" But she 100% knew what happened because
It smelled like burnt.
well, it smelled like ozone, and there was singe marks on the carpet, and it went. And I just electrocuted the shit out of myself.
Oh, poor baby.
Man,
Did you go to the hospital?
no, it was only like a second.
Okay.
It wasn't like I got stuck in there.
Yeah.
Like the way that I was holding them, it like sometimes when people get electrocuted, it tenses their muscles up and then they can't stop getting electrocuted. It was more like I was just holding on to the very ends of them, and then when it hit, it shocked me, but the tweezers like flew out,
Okay.
and then I didn't fly backwards like in the movies, but I was like,
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced any shadow people in your life?
If you have experienced sleep paralysis or shadow people or figures yourself, please feel free to send it to us at candlelightcuriositiesmedia@gmail.com. We would love to read it on a future episode. Also, if you have any other unexplained experiences that you'd like to share, also, please feel free to email it to us. And yeah.
Or just comment, just
Or
leave
comment.
a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Start a little conversation there.
Yeah. I love a good conversation about the paranormal.
Do you think that all shadow figures are just your brain making something up? Or do you think it's a little bit more? Something more paranormal?
It's nothing more. There's a
Or
scientific explanation for everything.
Not for everything, clearly.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
It helps.
Don't forget to blow out your candles and stay curious. We did not include the candle this time because the camera kept focusing on it. And once we figure out a different situation for our candles,
Maybe a fake candle.
we'll include our fake candles in the future episodes. But until then, stay curious.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Do you think I'm spooky?
Do you think I'm spooky? Sometimes. I'm keeping all of this in.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Bye.